So we're talking about operational risks. Let's look at examples of operations first. Large mining operations, pipeline operations, severely bombed and mined countries. For me, that's an operation. It's a countrywide operation. It's a society that strives to get back on its feet after a conflict. A rich province, maybe, it's also an operation. An army and an intelligence service in terms of information warfare, in terms of attacks through the information networks that could bring that operation to stop. Humanitarian projects, most likely you and your family. We are all operations. And a guy like this, he will be our hero today. His name is Mr. Stake, at stake. He wants to operate too. He wants to go to the beach. So all of these operations have similar needs. They want to succeed, survive. They want to shine, be remembered sometimes. They want to sail through life in a proper way, well steered. They need to justify their actions internally and most of the time externally. All that means making good decisions. Bypassers get mixed up. They get involved. This one is Miss Party, Geoparty. She says, if you want to go there, you have to be careful. It's full of horrible hazard. Don't go, don't go. It happens all the time. And hazards do happen. Here we have a very short review of a couple hazards I've seen in my life. Sometimes people get very proud of their hazards when they come to nice fruition. And hazards have to be identified. This band is called ZAR, Alzar. Are they the only thing that matters, like Geopardy and all the pessimistic people would like us to believe? For example, is this hazardous or risky? Should we do something about something like that? Well, if I show you the whole picture, would your opinion change on the hazard and on the risk level? Now, if I were to tell you that this is the only access to the 2006 Torino Winter Olympics, would you change your mind? More importantly, would you do something? And when? Before or after the Olympics? So hazards have to be taken into account to a reasonable level of understanding. Reasonable is a magic word that gets in the title of our latest book. Reasonable risk and crisis management. People go crazy when it comes to make decisions or when it comes to mitigate. So the hazards can generate risks, and we need to be able to evaluate, rank, act, and communicate. As nobody can see in the future, to make good decisions, we have to compare alternatives. I would be in jail if I were to be making only absolute risk assessment. Alternatives which are perfectly code compliant and require equivalent investments and maintenance can lead to completely different solutions, and they may expose owners to significantly different levels of risk all along the life of the project. Not spot, but all along the life. For example, we dealt with a very large asbestos mine. Option one was to haul with trucks all these dry tailings. Option two, and that was before Al Gore told us that we had to be very careful about the environment, was to build a lift tramway, aerial tramway, that actually produced electricity as it was taking down the mountain these hazardous fibers. Risk should be managed, weight, so that decisions are well balanced in terms of benefits and risks. So risk-based decision-making is really the only way to make sustainable long-term decisions. But corporations or people like Matt generally have no trouble finding people that love to give advice. Let's have a look at a few examples. The guy who says, I won't go there, it's way too risky. The name of this guy is Mr. Fall. Can you guess the first name? Pitfall. Or there is this beautiful young lady who says, no worries, everything will be just fine as it always has. Can you guess the name this time? Scenario. Rosy Scenario. Or this guy says, I have the right stuff against any trouble. It's so good I'm going to use it myself. And his name is Mr. Shield. Parashield. Or this one. This is the specialist, the guy who knows everything about a specific hazard. He loves to talk and think about the hazard, but he doesn't see the big picture. His name is Mr. Tall, know-it-all. So, at the end of the day, does Matt knows better what to do after consulting or being consulted forcibly by all these people? No, he doesn't know what to do. So he can go and seek advice with other specialists. These are the scientific, psychology, behavioral people. And they will sure help him by saying that there is a bandwagon effect, belief bias. By the way, remember them all because there will be a test at the end of this session. And a few more biases and decision-making tricks, which will make everybody fall dead asleep on it. So, in reality, decisions need to be taken with the aim of serenity, happiness, and financial success. Yet, people don't do it, especially people choose other ways. And they forget at the moment they're making decisions what the real aim of their decision should be. In order to help people making good decisions, there are a few parameters that should be always looked at. Expected returns and effects, feasibility, sustainability, scalability, redundancy, reclaim and disposal, very fashionable nowadays, potential losses, potential gains. Each one of these parameters contributes to the operational risk of an alternative, from cradle to grave. And these risks are money. They're not sweet words. Now, nowadays, there are specific computer applications that are geared to solve complex mathematics behind all this. So you go from little sketches to very complicated things. And at the end of the day, risk-based decision-making becomes clear and transparent. It's quantitative. It speaks in dollars. It speaks the language of the CFO of a company. It's not sweet words anymore. Let's go back to the example of the dry asbestos tailing dams. As you can see, risks abound here. The mountain, this huge mass of asbestos tailings, is impinging on residential areas. It's a pretty grim look to look at 60 million cubic meters of crap standing on a mountain above your head. And because people are getting very, very concerned about environment and all sorts of things, public opinion can be, and image damages can be extremely important. They can actually shift your risk curve orders of magnitude to the right-hand side, especially when people see things that they don't really understand because communication has not been done properly. Like in this picture, you can see small trees growing in this desert-like area. And a few months after, when you see it all green, people go, oh, it's all fixed, it's all nice, now I can take my kids and go there and camp. And they don't understand that might still be need for protection.